Okay, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to SRL. We're here for round 18 of season 9. And I'm here in the booth today with Lance LeBron, aka Kamikaze Fox, joining me today.
Yep, Kamikaze coming to you once again. Another SRL race, F1 2023 on the PlayStation platform. Filling in for our buddy Brian, who's out having surgery today, so hopefully nothing too major, and he'll be back next week. And heading into Singapore, very tough, physically demanding race. And I've always wondered, Nick, from a video game standpoint, we know that this race is very hot and very physically demanding in real life. What is it like on the video game side?
Well, not as physical as in real life, luckily. But no, it is definitely a pretty challenging track, of course. Quite technical. And pretty long as well, over the course of a lap, but also, of course, it's the longest race on the calendar in terms of the race distance. Yeah, it is quite a tricky circuit, and well, I think with sim racing it very much depends on what kind of wheel you use and how high your force feedback settings are. So you can make it as light or heavy as you want from a physical standpoint, but also mentally, it's definitely hard to keep your concentration for 31 laps here at a 50% race distance. And also this track is pretty tough on the tires as well. So I think tire management is also going to be a big factor today. And we might see drivers maybe going for split strategies, maybe going conservatively or aggressive, or maybe even struggling towards the end of stints or towards the end of the race. So yeah, tire management is definitely a big factor, and probably this is probably one of the toughest tracks on the tires in the entire calendar. So I think if there's one race where time management is a thing, it's here in Singapore.
Yeah, it's got to be brutal. I know you like a loose handling race car, and your tire management's never been quite your forte. But getting ready to kick off an 18-minute short qualifying session, followed by a 50% race, coming off of a very exciting round 17 at the Italian Grand Prix, where Alessi walked away with another win in the absence of Jenson Randall, so that was a nice surprise. You yourself had a really good race as well. Unfortunately, can't back that up. You have to be in the booth today on the account of Brian and myself. But Tim Ventic walked away with a podium. Sandro Dulius, after he had a 3-second penalty receded, finally got the final podium spot. You finished 4th. Noah Smith was 5th. Jesper Lempinen was 6th. Senna actually had a good run, finishing 7th. Lewis Marshall was 8th. Ivan Brito 9th. And then newcomer David Rod was 10th. And Alessi, again, walking away with the win. But it was really Nicola Falzarezzi was the big talk of the town. He had won pole position, and it was his race to lose as he's second in the championship. And unfortunately, he DNF'd early on, and that still didn't clinch the championship for Jenson, but I don't think Jenson has to do very much today. I think I saw he only has to finish 5th or better in order to clinch the championship.
Correct, yes. Yeah, we a graph here with all the scenarios, but indeed, basically, if Jenson Randall finishes in the top 5, he will be the world champion of season 9, no matter what Alessi, Nicola, or Sandro do. Those three only are the drivers that are still in contention to postpone Jenson Randall's championship and to prevent him from winning it. Yeah, to quickly give you a rundown, Jenson finishes in 5th or better, he is the world champion. If he finishes 6th, he will need to have the fastest lap, which will give him an extra point, of course. If he finishes 6th place without the fastest lap, then Alessi Kovanen will be the only driver who's able to prevent his championship if he wins and gets the fastest lap. If Jenson finishes in 7th with the fastest lap, then a victory for Alessi will also be enough. Then if Jenson finishes in 7th or lower, then also can prevent him from winning it if he ends up winning the race. And if Jenson finishes in 8th or lower, then also still Sandro can prevent his championship if he wins and gets a fast lap. And well, if Jenson finishes in 9th or lower, then the other 3 drivers will have enough with just a victory without a fast lap. And if he finishes in 11th or worse and doesn't score any points, then even a 2nd place will be enough for Alessi Kovanen and Nicola Falzarezzi to still keep the championship alive. But let's just assume that Jenson Randall will finish in the top 5, so we don't have to worry about any of that.
Looks like Bor Bune is going to be the first driver out of the pits, going to start a timed lap here in the next few corners. Looks like we've already lost T-Beast, I can't remember, was that Juan Rivez?
It is, yes, and he's also got a qualifying ban today.
Ah,
So
that
that's
explains
really
that.
Yeah.
So Born Bune and the other Williams starting his first timed lap as he heads down into turn 1, 2, and 3. Very technical track, as you said earlier. Very long lap. Weather usually is a factor here. We'll see if that plays into qualifying with the race tonight as well.
Yeah, of course, it did definitely last season, where we had a wet race, which ended up being the longest race in SRL history in terms of the time that it took for the race to complete, over 1 hour long for 50% race distance. But yeah, it could definitely maybe play a role as well today, as Bohr almost gets held up by the Alpine there, just managed to avoid him.
Well, very difficult to try and stay out of the way on such a narrow track with such wide cars. I believe that was the Alpine of possibly Tim Ventic on his outlap.
Yes, it looked like it was.
And obviously, I'm pretty confident everybody's probably going to try and take softs for their qualifying on this. If the race stays dry, what is your optimum tire strategy in your opinion?
Very good question. I think it is a very long stretch to the way one stop, and you would definitely have to start on mediums for that, going from mediums to hards. But of course, nowadays we do have the free tire choice at the start of the race, so it doesn't matter what tire compound you qualify on. But I think we might see some drivers going for a one stop, going from mediums to hards, or from hards to mediums, or maybe some drivers will find the two stop being quicker, maybe going with 2 sets of mediums, possibly softs. Personally, since I knew I was going to be in the commentary booth today, I haven't actually done a race simulation or prepared a strategy or anything like that, so I'm actually not as much aware of what the optimal strategy would be as the drivers probably are. But I reckon maybe that we will see most drivers opting for a one-stop with the 2 harder compounds. That's what I would assume.
And Jensen Randall doing what Jensen Randall does, 1:28.387. He is 0.7 of a second faster than the next quickest driver, which was Nicolo Falzaresi with a 1:29.1. So Aleski puts up a 1:29.2. Jesper Lempinen, good qualifying effort, 1:29.7. Bohr Bune was the first one to set a time at a 1:29.837. Sam Brandt with a 1:30.842. Ivan Brito just topped him for 6th. And you see all the times coming in now. Looks like David Rod went 4th quickest in his McLaren. And we'll pick up Lewis Marshall, should be getting ready to... He's just now starting a hot lap. Coming out of the first few corners. Lewis Marshall, ooh, looks like he's got a little bit of snap oversteer. Multiple Grand Prix winner, never won an SRL championship, but I do believe he has won an IRL.
Also, interestingly, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I saw Dion Staal actually going out on the intermediate his first run here, so that is probably just to save a set of softs, so he still has 3 sets available for the race. I think he's maybe taking into account the fact that we're probably going to have a safety car today, and he just wants to keep as many sets of softs available.
It looks like Lewis Marshall botched his lap, so we're going to pick up Noah Smith in the other Haas. And Noah coming to the end of his lap, very close to that outside wall as he comes out of that corner through the last section here. And a 1:28.895, great effort by Noah Smith.
Very good lap indeed for the English driver in the house, puts himself into 2nd place, still that half a second behind that amazing 28.3 set by Jensen Randall. Nicolo Falzaresi also very competitive inside the top 3 in front of our race winner from last week, Alexei Koivuniemen.
We're picking up Robin Herderstagen. He's yet to set a time. He's only one of 3 drivers that have yet to set a time. Lewis Marshall, obviously, we saw he had a couple of mishaps on his hot lap. And Sandro's just now doing an out lap, which is kind of odd this late into the session.
Yeah, I think he might be doing the same as Dion Staal, try to just only use 2 sets here, maybe just doing 2 runs in qualifying to save the extra set of sauce for the race.
And it looks like we've got a car off in Sector 3. Looks like that might have been the other McLaren.
Yeah, maybe just waiting to create a bit of space before starting his flying lap.
So a bit of tire strategy on Ferrari's part, both of them trying to save a set of softs, which would indicate to me that they're probably going to do a two-stop strategy, because
yeah,
the hards are not going to go long enough for you to use a set of softs at the end. And a 135.243 for Robin Herderstag. And we'll pick up Sandro Dulius and see what he's got going on. He's actually out on a set of softs.
Yeah, I wonder if the Ferrari driver, sorry to interrupt, if they're planning to use soft tires. If we see Sandro Dulius now starting his flying lap, maybe you want to run us through.
It looks like he was tiptoeing around there on his out lap, heading through turn 1, 2, and 3. Very quick section there. Then you come down to this hard right-hander. This puts you out onto a little bit of a short shoot in the DRS zone. The straightaways here, they're not very long. Is the DRS even that much of an advantage here at this track?
Not even that much, because there's also a bit of a kink in the back straight there, and you know, it is a bit of an advantage when you try to overtake someone, but indeed it's a pretty short back straight and with a bit of a corner, so it's not as powerful the track we went to last week, for example. But it's, you know, every little bit helps a little bit, of course.
Oh, and Sandro kind of went in a little weird in that corner there. And some of these, the signage is kind of what throws me off. It almost looks like you're heading straight into a wall when you know that there's a corner that you're supposed to be turning at.
Yeah, that's the thing with Singapore as well. Like this track, you really have to just confident and build up the confidence to just be able to go very close to the walls and just use all the width of the track to get the optimal time. And you really have to just build the confidence to know exactly where you can place the car. As we look at Sandro Dulius coming around the final corner.
Oh.
Slide, V8, 129.846.
Yeah, it looked like he actually clipped the inside wall on one of those left-handers with the left front. Just brushed it a little. Might have cost him a tenth or two. So everybody's got times on the board at this point, except for Lewis Marshall. And he is just now starting a hot lap as he comes out of turn 3. He'll head down this short chute and then onto the back straightaway. And as you said, the back straight, yeah, it's got DRS, but it's got that little bit of a kind of a dog leg in it. And that's got to be a little irritating when trying to make a pass. It's not really a good line to take into the next left-hander.
Yeah, of course, if you pass on the inside there, it will put you on the outside for the braking zone. So also an opportunity sometimes could be to try and hang up on the outside to then to the inside as Lewis Marshall again. Has a bit of a slide on the exit there.
Looks like he's really struggling with the oversteer under power.
He's really trying to maximize the exits, trying to get them in power as early as possible. Oh, again, bit of a moment there coming out of the hairpin. But,
yeah, the car looks very twitchy. It's got a good turn in, but coming out, it's definitely fighting the traction with the tires. As you said, so hard on the tires here. Jensen Randall still your provisional pole sitter with 7 minutes left to play in the session. 128.3. The closest driver to him was Noah Smith. Lewis Marshall still struggling to try and find some pace. Almost brushes the outside wall there. Coming through this last left-hander, and he's going to be a little bit off the pace. A 134.05. 12th quickest.
In the back front just lost it as well.
Nope, yeah.
Actually, Jensen Randall. In the very same corner where he also crashed out a couple of seasons ago. So Jensen having a bit of a moment there in the final corner, but he is still on pole position, so it's going to take a lot from anybody else to beat that 128.387.
Now, with this being such a long track, he just had an incident. I mean, he's technically on a timed lap. Do you just settle and maybe think 128.3 is going to be good enough? Save the tires?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, yeah, because the 28.3 is a really fast lap, and he could just bank on that and hope that nobody is going to go underneath that and just indeed save some tires. Maybe he's going to just abandon this run, come in and try again at the end of the session. When we had that fast as well, of course, with the track evolution and the rubber being laid down, but maybe he's going to call it today here and just save a set for the race. Also, Dion Staal now on his first actual lap of the session on the set of soft tires.
And it looks like Jensen has, looks like Jensen's gone into limp mode, so he's probably going to be saving those tires. Nicolo Falzaresi just went on 128.5, and we're going to pick up Dion Staal, who has yet to set a actual time. That 141 you said was set on intermediates. I mean, a little bit of props to Dion. That's a good time considering Sam Brandt and Robin Herderstagen are in the 130s on normal slicks.
Yeah, 10 seconds off, not too bad. But I wonder if the Ferrari drivers are actually planning to use the softs during the race and do a two-stop, or if they just want to save it in case a late safety car comes out.
So Dion, he's going to be right around that 131, so he's good enough for 16th. He out-qualifies Robin Herderstagen. And Ivan Brita, we're going to pick him up, but it looks like he's heading back into the pits as well. So a lot of guys in the pits. Vincenzo Torri is on a invalidated lap. Looks like he's heading into the pits. George Wilkes just cut a corner, so it looks like he's looks like everybody's going to head into the pits, swap tires one more time, and we'll have a very exciting last 3 minutes of this session with everybody heading back out probably for one more shot at trying to grab pole.
Indeed, yeah, this is always the phase where everybody goes in and just prepares themselves for the final run in qualifying.
And the top four are only separated by a second, even though you have stated 128.3 is a really good time. I mean, if I'm Jensen Randall in this scenario, I'm going to sit back and save my tires. I'm going to let Nicolo Falzaresi, Noah Smith, and Oleski burn up an extra set trying to beat my time because I can use that set in the race.
Yeah, I would probably do the same thing. Also, indeed, off-screen, Nicolo Falzaresi, a very competitive 128.5. And also Noah Smith, as always, right up there with a 28.8. So the top three with very good in anything under 29 or 1 minute 29 is very quick around here.
So Leski's going out on his last out lap. He'll be followed by his teammate Jensen Randall. So we're going to stick with Oleski. He's going to be the first driver to come back across to start one final attempt at pole position. Jensen Randall, your pole sitter and championship points leader, will be right behind him. It looks like we got Falzaresi's coming out. David Rod, who we haven't talked a whole lot about, he's coming out. He's currently 7th quickest. Noel is coming out. He's currently 13th. Sam Brandt in the Red Bull. Good to see him back in a car again, but currently 15th. Not probably where he wants to be, and I'm sure he's done much better here in years past. And it looks like Noah Smith has left the session. Possible internet issues for Noah. That's kind of interesting. He's currently 3rd quickest.
Yeah, because it didn't look like he just retired from the session to leave it here. It looks like he actually disconnected from the session entirely, but we'll see if he's able to join back.
So Oleski's getting ready to start a hot lap, and he is going to have a whole slew of traffic in front of him. There's a whole batch of cars that are just coming out of turn 3. He's coming down the front straightaway now. He goes by one of the Ferraris coming out of the pits, gets into turns 1, 2, and 3. He's a little wide coming out of there.
Yeah, let's hope that he doesn't catch up to, I think it might be Sam Brandt running about a corner in front of him. So let's hope that he doesn't catch up, or that they move out of the way if he does.
Through the dog leg, downshift through the left-hander, runs a little wide over top of the curbs. Last week's winner at Monza trying to put together a lap here. Looks like he's struggling a little bit with the grip of the car. Oh, almost hit the outside wall. And he is coming up on the backside of Sam Brandt's Red Bull. And now he's going to have to worry about the aero wash coming off of that car. And obviously, this is a very downforce-oriented track, much unlike Monza. Sam Brandt out of the way. Oleski power down, drags the wheels coming out of that corner. And I got to be honest, riding along here, I don't think this is Oleski's best effort. It looks like he's struggling with the car a little bit. Coming down to this last little section here, the DHL section, as I call it. Caution flag flies in sector 2. Somebody has a quick on-off. Yeah, 129.1 improves his time, not his position. Will pick up Jensen Randall, his teammate, and Jensen's going purple in sector 1, of course.
So he is not opting for what we discussed earlier. He is going out there to just try and improve his lap time even more on a new set of tires. But the Alexi did improve by 6/1000 of a second. Wasn't enough. Jensen Randall coming through the final couple of corners into turn 18 and 19. His double apex left-hander up towards the line. It's a 127.967. We're into the 127s now. Unbelievable lap from Jensen Randall.
Picked up David Rod, but it looks like he is foregoing his effort. Oleski's off. It looks like George Wilkes is on a flyer, currently 6th quickest here in the Red Bull. So 127.9, your provisional pole. That's just going to be a knuckle in the back for all of the other drivers. He's going to be the only one to crack into the 127s. He's 0.6 of a second quicker. And looks like Wilkes just went around and looks like he might have reset himself on track. So that's going to be probably looked at. That's a big no-no.
It certainly is if you do it during the race. Maybe the stewards will see it through their fingers in qualifying, because it doesn't really benefit you, and it is probably a little bit safer in his case. Yeah, it's a bit of a awkward situation.
Sandro just went 0.6 of a second quicker over his previous time, jumped from 11th to 6th. Borbune, who we haven't really talked about all session, 128.8, good enough for 3rd quickest, drops Noah Smith down into the 4th spot.
Yeah, very good lap for Borbune indeed. That's very close to, well, even the lap of Nicola Valsreci and what we were seeing at the beginning of the session, so very good on him. All the way up to P3, just in front of Noah Smith.
Doesn't look like anybody else is currently on a flyer. Looks like Sam Brandt's going to settle for his 130. Dion Stahl's going to settle for his 131. And looks like he did go out on a set of softs, but and Robin Herterstegen, 135.243. He's locked in, and then obviously Juan Rivas had a qualifying ban for today's race.
Lots of traffic here in the final sector, but I don't think anybody was on a flying lap. So lots of drivers are abandoning their laps here at the end of the session. But what an amazing lap time from Jensen Randall. It's just proving again why he...
So I had this discussion with Sandro after last week's race. Since Jensen wasn't in the race, obviously we got a different winner. Sandro found himself on the podium. You were fighting up front along with him, and it was nice to see some different drivers running up front. And it's not a knock against Jensen, but I feel as if Jensen has outgrown in pace for SRL. I know he belongs to a myriad of other leagues that he's competitive with, and I know he does a lot of stuff for SRL behind the scenes, but it was refreshing to not have Jensen in the race last week.
Yeah, I see your point, of course. And
I mean, he's so good in comparison to everybody else, and obviously picks up another pole position. Nicolo Falzaresi will be 2nd, Borbune will be starting 3rd, Noah Smith is 4th, David Rod 5th, Sandro Julius will be starting 6th, Oleski, last week's winner, will be starting in the 7th position, Vincenzo Torri is 8th, Jesper Lempinen 9th, George Wilkes will be 10th, former champion Tim Ventic 11th, Lewis Marshall, multi-Grand Prix winner 12th, Noel will be starting 13th, and Ivan Brito is 14th.
Yeah, Borbune also coming on the live chat, he's saying that he made a bit of a mistake in the middle sector and he could have found maybe a couple tenths to potentially challenge the lap time of Nicola Valsreci, but still a very good effort for the Dutchman in the win. But yeah, about Jensen, I mean, he is like his level is insane. Like if you look at his lap times and his race pace, like he is challenging the level of the drivers in PSL F1 and F1 Esports, or the Sim Racing World Championship as it's called nowadays. And he is sometimes almost matching the lap times, or at least getting very close to times of guys like Jano Opmeer, Danny Bresnay, Lucas Blakely, drivers like that. And it's very admirable to see just how fast Jensen is, and indeed he does participate in lots of different leagues. I think even semi-professionally as well. I think he is part of some sort of esport team where it's even getting paid. And I mean, we can't blame him for still participating in SRL, but his level is unreal. And I can see that SRL is esports, and maybe he has outgrown it. But on the other hand, he has been part of this series for a long time, and I can understand his competitive nature as well, just wanting to win, wanting to stay in the league. I mean, I would probably do the same thing if I could be at his level, or if I would somehow be in such a sort of situation. But I mean, in the end, it's going to be up to Jensen.
Yeah, it should definitely be noted. He's been with the league for 5 seasons now. He holds pretty much all of the records, but he does do a lot of stuff behind the scenes and help Sandro kind of maintain and manage the league as well as it is. And he's not the only driver that we've seen come and go or stay that has that type of pace. I mean, Francis McGinn was with us for a number of seasons. He's gone on to bigger and better things. Even Vasilios Belasiotis beat Max Verstappen in an iRacing.
Yeah.
What was that, the 24 Hours of Nürburgring or something?
Yes.
So,
correct.
I mean, Vasilios, who, only was here for a couple seasons, but went on to beat, real-time F1 world champion Max. And Max is no slouch when it comes to sim racing. He likes it just as much as he likes real racing.
Yes, that's crazy. It's nice to that up, but yeah, it's amazing what Vasilios Belasiotis has gone on to achieve. And I mean, especially in iRacing and R-Factor and stuff like that, where they virtual 24 Hours of Nürburgring. Max Verstappen, he is an alien. Like, he is up there with the esports drivers. He's part of the Red Line esports team, and Vasilios was really, or maybe even the fastest driver on the track at that point, because even his team, decided to put him in the track for most of the running and to let the driving time and let him finish the race as well, which allowed him to actually overtake Max Verstappen on the track. And actually, he was faster than Max Verstappen in that virtual turf.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that people need to be, aware of. It wasn't a pass on the pit or through a pit strategy. It was legit on track, faster than Max. And that's a rarity. And I mean, obviously it's a rarity in real life at this point. It's a rarity in iRacing. Max, as you said, is an alien. The man just does nothing but race and is hyper-focused on just doing that. So, and we did see Noah Smith has rejoined the session, so that's good. Maybe got that internet issue under control. He'll be starting in the 4th position as the cars come around on their formation lap. And Jensen Randall pulling up to his grid spot. So, and this is a track. This is much like Monaco. Pole position is so important here because passing on track is going to be so difficult.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult to pass here, and also the start is definitely going to be crucial with these drivers here. With all of them lining up on the grid now. Jensen Randall alongside him on the grid, Nicola Valtzeresi and Paul Bunet in 3rd place, completing the 2nd row.
So we'll wait for the 5 red lights, which apparently, there we go. I do get to see them this time. So 5 red lights. Lights out. Time to run what you brung their way in a puff of smoke. Good start for Sandro Dulius, and it looks like Noah Smith's car is stuck sitting at the grid. And Jensen Randall is off to the races. Bor Bune trying to make a pass on Nicola Falzaresi through the first 3 corners. Aleski's up a couple of spots. David Rod, and it looks like Robin Herterstegen struggling in the back. And we've got a caution in Sector 1. Not sure who that's in regards to. Could be Noel or Dion Stahl. Looks like they're kind of falling through the grid here. Sandro Dulius started 6th, had a great start. Didn't gain any positions, though. Tim Bentic is up to 8th. Vincenzo Torre is 9th. Lewis Marshall is up to 10th. And it looks like we've got a thing going on. Ivan Brito here in the back, along with Sam Brandt. And these two guys phasing in and out of each other.
Yeah, that was a bit odd with the ghost there. We do have yellow flags. We have a virtual safety car here. And Noah Smith, very odd there. Very similar to what happened to Vincenzo Torri and Monza. He joined back into the session, but for some reason he didn't actually start, but his car was stationary on the start-finish straight. So very fortunate nobody actually smashed into his car, and everyone was able to avoid him. But Jensen Randall still in the lead. The top three is unchanged with Nicola Valtresi and Bor Bune in third position. Also Alexi Kovanen is still in front of David Rod. A bit of an incident there between Sam Brandt and Ivan Brito.
So virtual safety car, not unexpected. In fact, we expected an actual safety car, but I'm sure there's plenty of time for that. 31-lap race, and we've just started. So it looks like Noel and Lewis Marshall having a little bit of a dispute over the 10th position. And it looks like we're back to green flag racing, so Noel took that position. That might get looked at after the race, but we're back to green flag racing. Ivan Brito heading into the pits. Yeah, and Jensen Randall is almost off to a second gap here over Nicolo Falzaresi.
Yeah, he's already going to try to break them and get himself out of the 1 second window before we start lap 3. There we can see the predicted tire strategies. Leaders either going to be able to stop with a medium and hard stint or a 2-stop, going for 2 sets of mediums. So let's see what the drivers will decide to do here. Most of the drivers having started on the medium tires, but actually the top four rather, all started on the harder compounds, wanting to get that out of the way earlier and going longer in the first.
And interestingly enough, Juan Rivas started on the softs. Not sure if that was by design or an accident. He had that qualifying ban, so didn't really get to do any type of installation laps or anything like that. So, and yes, Jensen Randall's pulled out to a second gap. We've got a caution flag flying in Sector 1 and another virtual safety car, and it looks like this is going to be in regards to Noah Smith.
That's very odd, because it looked like he is stationary in turn 2, even though he didn't actually start the race. So that's a little bit weird that he retired so late on, but that might have still been because his AI car was stationary on the track.
Virtual safety car. It's our second virtual safety car in 3 laps. So makes you wonder if we're having lobby issues with that scenario. And it looks like, so I see virtual safety car listed, and then I see a safety car on track.
So do I. Yes, good point.
Now it says safety car. Okay, so timing and scoring is not keeping up as quickly as we would like it to.
Yeah, there was also a bit of an issue in the last race at Monza where we had the virtual safety car and lots of drivers were getting illegal overtakes on each other, because sometimes the game can sort of mess up all of the illegal overtakes, and you have like both drivers who need to give the position back to each other, and you get unfair stop-go penalties, those kind of things. So fortunately it looks like this time at least we don't have any illegal penalties or whatever, so can resume the race, but it is the first full course caution. Do you reckon it's going to be the last one we see today?
No, I'm sure we will see another one. I mean, we've already seen the 2 virtual safety cars. Now a full safety car. Yeah, we're not done with yellow flags for sure. It's going to bunch up the field. I mean, no real major incidents among the top 10 points-paying positions. I mean, obviously we saw Sam Brandt and Ivan Brito have a bit of a collision there on lap 1, and didn't get to see how it unfolded, but the aftermath of it. I mean, Bor Bune holding on to 3rd. He was making a charge at Nicolo Falzaresi before the safety car came out. Oleski holding on to that 4th position, but not much has changed. David Rod still 5th, Sandro still 6th, Jesper 7th, Tim Ventic, I guess your biggest mover, up to 8th. Vincenzo Torri is 9th, and Noel is 10th. Kind of surprised Lewis Marshall and George Wilkes are as deep in the field as they are. And it looks like we're waiting. Sam Brandt's going to be the last driver to try and catch up to the safety car.
I do think that Jensen Randall probably doesn't like this, since he was trying to build out the lead, and now is going to have Nicola Valsrezi and Boer Bune right behind him again. But yeah, Boer coming into this weekend, he was already saying that this was one of his better tracks. He already 0.8 in practice, so he knew that the pace was there. And I think he equaled his time in qualifying as well. So it's probably the strongest we've seen for Bune so far this season in his first year. I think he made his debut at the Austrian Grand Prix earlier in this season. So good to see him up there.
And this really puts Nicola Valsrezi in a precarious position. We talked about it a little bit last week. He's a very good driver. He's also a very aggressive driver, and sometimes that bites him in the butt. And with so much on the line, he needs to get out in front of Jensen. But with Boer Bune, as you said, this being one of his better tracks, Boer was making a charge for Nicola before the safety car. So Nicola's not going to be able to concentrate on Jensen as much as he wants to, because he's going to try and protect that position for Boer Bune.
Exactly, yeah. Actually, a bit of a correction. Boer, I think, made his debut at Silverstone. It was Erik Elgersma who debuted the Austrian Grand Prix. But yeah, it's definitely fast. He's also participating in a different league, Boer Bune, in Formula Virtual Racing, where he also got his first podium of the season in Monza a couple of weeks ago, which was his second podium there, as he also got a podium at Suzuka, where, of course, the real life Formula 1 weekend is this weekend, back on F1 22. But he is still chasing his first podium here in SRL, but he's certainly in a very good position to do so today.
So safety car will be in this lap. That makes Jensen Randall the control car, which I've never been a big fan of with Formula One. I'm actually not a fan of it in NASCAR either. There's a flagman for a reason. Let's go under the green flag. That's just my personal take. Yeah,
so you reckon without the bunching up towards the end of the lap before the restarts?
Yeah, just wait for you to get to the front straight away. Wait for the flagman to drop the flag and go. The control car always seems to have a little bit of an advantage, and obviously you see there Jensen Randall already gapping Nicola Valsrezi. It's so hard to predict when the control car is going to go.
Yeah, definitely good point, because it can cause some tricky situations as well when the control car, acceleration and brakes again. I mean, even in real life, we've seen some really dangerous situations in Formula 1, like in the Italian Grand Prix in 2020, of course, but even with sim racing and in SRL, we've seen a couple moments like in Jeddah, as we have a bit of an incident further back, I think, or it might have been George Wills there losing a lot of places as he made a mistake coming out of turn 4.
And Oleski just lost the spot to David Rod, and it looks like Vincenzo Torri has fallen down. He's trying to fight with Lewis Marshall for that 10th position. Noel up to 9th. And Valsrezi hanging tough right now, 0.7 of a second back of Jensen Randall, but Boer Bune is only 0.6 of a second as we look out the back of his car at David Rod, who's trying to make a charge at him. So everybody in the top 11 are only separated by, less than a second. So if they could keep it that way, a lot of those drivers are going to have the DRS and might create a little bit of a DRS train. Caution flag sector 2. George Wilkes has retired from the session, and safety car is out again.
Well, that was a very short restart. So yeah, very unfortunate for George Wilkes. He already had a moment from out of turn 4, and now it looks like he lost on the exit of the hairpin after going underneath the tunnel. So very unfortunate for the Red Bull driver, out of the session, and timed off today. And well, I didn't expect to already see a second safety car after 6 laps.
So you've been in situations like this. Is this a little frustrating as a driver to you get going, you stop, you get going, you stop. You can't really find a rhythm to
exactly
make a good stint. And it looks like Juan Rivas is heading into the pits. I wonder if he had anything to do with... Actually, it looks like he might just be swapping over from those softs back onto the mediums. Good strategy. I mean, he's not going to lose a position, and he's going to have fresher mediums over everybody else. So that might be able to garner him some track position when we get to an actual pit window. Surprisingly, nobody has taken the... I guess, would it be an advantage or a disadvantage at this point to try and pit under the safety car with the tire strategy?
Yeah, I think all of them probably seem to think that it's just too early. You just can't go to the end, even if you go from mediums to hard at this point. So it's just not worth it because you're gonna have to do another stop anyway. So it's probably better to just go for track position at this point. Yeah, just stay on the set that we started with. We're still pretty early on in the race. And yeah, with the timer being so high, there's just no way that even for the medium runner spinning to the hard it's gonna work. We did see that in Spa when Erik Elgersma actually stayed out and then everybody behind him came in. And he was kind of called out by that. And even Erik said that he could have possibly won that race if it wasn't for the strategy that he messed up. But yeah, he didn't expect everybody else to come to the pit lane when the safety car got deployed. Around a similar lap, I believe, as what we're on now. But it's just that the timer is so much heavier around here.
So it looks like Juan Rivas will catch up to the pack. So probably do one more lap under yellow.
Yes, it looks like the safety car does stay out for another lap. Everybody bunches up again.
So the Aston Martin leading the Aston Martin of Jensen Randall. So we'll go one more time under yellow. Nicolo Falzaresi hoping to maybe not get caught napping this time.
Yeah, the restart is going to be crucial because as soon as you let Jensen Randall escape, you're probably not going to reel him back in again.
Oh, and Jesper Lempinen, 5-second penalty for severe collision with Sandro Dulius.
So he probably ran into the back of Sandro under the safety car there. Might have a little bit of fun doing that. Pretty
That's
harsh
what I'm trying to see if he's got any wing damage. Looks like his front wing, the end plates are clear, so he would have had to hit him square on the nose. So that's a little bit uncharacteristic of Jesper. He's usually a little bit more cautious than that.
So Juan Rivas, the only driver having pitted for a new set of mediums. Yeah, like I said, it's probably not going to change his strategy, but it will give him a slight benefit here on the restart.
We see Dion, Ivan, Sam, and Juan Rivas have all made pit stops due to prior collisions, but you know, Ivan and Sam, both 5-lap old tires. Juan Rivas is going to be the one that's... So he might be able to make quick work of those guys, maybe move up towards the... maybe towards the top 10. He could probably get by Sam and Ivan and Dion with relatively ease. Robin Hertersteig and Vincenzo Torri might be a different story. And it looks like we are going to finally get the notification here. Race control, safety car is in this lap. Ooh, and Jensen really stacking things up.
Yes, let's see if he's going to try and play differently than to the last safety car restart where he went relatively early. He's definitely bunching the pack up, everybody weaving around to try and just keep the temperature in the tires. Around turn 17. Then 18 and 19, it's really one corner, but of course it counts as two corners as it's a double apex left-hander. And
there he goes. Oh, and a great restart by Borbune.
It is all the way tucked up behind the Alfa Romeo of Nicolo Falzaresi. He's going to try to go to the outside here to turn 1. Nicolo,
Nicolo blows the corner. Oleski gets to the inside of David Rod and picks up the 4th position, takes it back from him. Borbune, oh, we got a caution flag again, Sector 1, that's Sam Brandt, and it looks like he's gone around, he's lost his front wing completely, and now he's doing the Austin Powers in the middle of the track. Gets it straightened and gets it going. So Sam Brandt, his comeback has not gone as well as he wanted it to. He has struggled the last couple of races that he's been in, unfortunately, and we do see Juan Rivas has gotten around Dion Stahl. He's up to the 14th position. Ivan Brito is getting around. He's battling it out with Robin Herterstegen for the 12th position. See if we can pick that up. Oh, and that's a 3-car battle.
Well.
Ooh, and Rivas with those fresher tires.
Justin managed to fit through there. Oh, back up the inside for Vincenzo there. Or Ivan Brito, sorry, up the inside of Robin Herterstegen.
Trying to pull the Felipe Massa and go to the inside at the last second. Rivas all the way down to the inside, makes it 3 wide for a second. And he's going to do the 2-for-1, get to the inside. Vincenzo gets a great drive off of that corner. Vincenzo Vincenzo held onto that position. Oh, Juan to the inside, though. And here comes Dion Stahl. Barreling into the corner, makes contact
It was actually
with Ivan Brito.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Yeah, Ivan was even sliding around there after that moment of contact. Very good driving off from Paul Rierenvals, picking up all of these positions. Ivan Brito down into P13, closely followed by Dion Stahl and Robin Erstagen. Great scrabbling going on there for P11.
Got my Mercedes mixed up again, and Sam Brandt heading into the pits. Now he's going to come out. Looks like he's going to get a fresh set of mediums, maybe? Oh, he's going to put on a fresh set of hards and a new wing. Now, as Sam runs clean, could he take those hards all the way to the end of the race at this point? Or is it still too early?
It's a very long stretch. I don't think he could. I mean, maybe if he drives very smoothly and just conserves the tires as much as possible, but I don't think it's going to be possible to stretch the hards from here, to be honest.
So Jensen Randall out to a 1.8 second lead over Nicolo Falzaresi. Falzaresi has gapped Borbune, though. Borbune just on the cusp of that DRS range. Oleski is outside of that, but he's got David Rod all over the back of him, so that battle for fourth position is still raging, and Sandro Dulius is starting to catch up to that too, so we might have a three-car battle for the fourth spot here in the next couple laps.
And also the other Mercedes of Vincenzo Torre closing up to the back of Lewis Marshall. Tries to go to the inside here, starting sector 3, very late on the brakes, and he gets it done. Very nice and clean move from the Italian up into 10th place.
So Vincenzo Torre will now set his sights on Noel for the 9th position.
Yeah, it's so easy to mix the two Mercedes drivers. We've also got pretty similar helmet designs. So Vincenzo Torre almost runs into the back of Noah Rosso there and loses another place to Lewis Marshall. So we will have to try it all over again.
Oh, and Ivan Brito.
Ivan Brito is crashed out.
Big crash. Ivan Brito, heavy contact into the wall, left front suspension completely gone. This is going to be another full-blown safety car. And now that we're 9 laps in, do we see any takers for tires?
Possibly, yeah. Oh, yeah, I missed the crash on the live stream, but we've got the 3rd retirement and the 3rd full caution here on lap 10. So, yeah, Ivan Brito just after moving up a couple of places in that battle a couple of laps ago has lost it. I'm sure that you call it, but fortunately we didn't get to see it on the SRL live stream. Yeah, I think we could definitely see drivers rolling the dice and coming in, especially the medium runners. I'm not really sure what the hard runners like Jens Rendel are gonna do, because they can't stretch a set of mediums to the end.
I just caught the tail end of that crash on my feed. Didn't see it unfold, but he was sideways in the middle of the track. Front end gone, left front gone. So whatever happened was definitely with some force. As you said, the 3rd retirement we've had. Ivan Brito out, George Wilkes out, Noah Smith. He didn't even really get to start because of an internet issue. And Jensen Randall is coming into the pits.
So, well, I reckon he's going to go to a set of mediums, but surely he won't be able to take those to the end. I think this might benefit all of the medium runners now.
Nicolo Falzaresi and Borbune both stay out. Jensen and Aston Martin Zaleski, they're going to double stack. And, yep. Jensen takes on the mediums. Here comes Zaleski. Zaleski's going to take on the mediums as well. Looks like he's going to lose a spot to Jesper Lempinen. I'm sorry, Lewis Marshall, who stayed out. Actually, no, did Lewis pit?
No, Lewis Marshall indeed stayed out as well on his set of mediums, interestingly. Very, very busy in the pit lane, lots of drivers having to stack. But yeah, Nicolo Falzaresi and Borbune both opted to stay on their hard tires, but Jensen Randall decided to bite the bullet and come in. I'm not really sure who has made the right decision here, to be honest. I can definitely understand why Nicolo Falzaresi and Borbune prefer to have the track position and lead the race down in first and second place, because there's just no way you can take mediums to the end. But of course, Jensen Randall is going to have a massive tire advantage, especially if he maybe decides to go to softs at the end, that could arguably be possible. Of course, then he's going to have a massive pace deficit. Is it going to be enough to cancel out the time lost with a pit stop? Possibly, but I can definitely see why the two leaders here have decided to stay out. Very interesting though from Lewis Marshall, considering he is on the medium tires. He will have to pit soon anyway. Maybe he is counting on the... I mean, we have seen 3 in about 10 laps. So,
I mean, at this point, you know, it's starting to look like it might be a race of attrition. So maybe he's banking on another safety car, maybe a virtual safety car, so he doesn't lose as much track position under the virtual safety car. But I mean, it's, as you said, this was a very gray area because you're right on the cusp of your tire strategy. You're not necessarily where you want to be. You're just outside that window. It's do you gamble and run that first long stint and lose position there, or do you gamble and you have to make the second stop later in the race? So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, I think Jensen, he's not going to be able to take mediums all the way to the end, so he's going to have to pit again.
Yeah,
and
sure.
He's the first car, fourth. He's the first car that did pit. So your top 3, Nicola Falzaresi, Bord Bune, and Lewis Marshall, all stayed out under this safety car. Yeah, this is this is an interesting race, no matter how you want to look at it. This is it looks like Dion Stahl's gone in to make another pit stop. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe he accidentally selected the wrong set of tires.
Looks like he is on a very used set of hards now. 8 laps on those tires. So that is very interesting and probably not what he wanted to, I imagine.
Dion cracks me up. Dion, I know he's been in the league for a long time as he loses the back end under yellow. I feel like Dion, he's a good racer, but he's got a lack of attention to detail, it seems like.
He can be pretty quick on his day, but he can also be a little bit sloppy and making weird mistakes, like for example in Jeddah where he got confused for a second. I will say that Jeddah can be a confusing track, but he made a very weird mistake crashing out, which caused the safety car there at the end. Basically running into a right-hander because he thought he was in the final sector, which I can actually, I'll be honest with him, I have never done it in a league race, but I've done that like that. It's very, like sometimes when you sort of lose concentration and start to go into auto drive, usually, you know, the track in your muscle memory, you just, you know, there's never some confusion. But on Jeddah, it's almost so similar that if you don't pay attention, it can if you're not completely familiar with the track. But yeah, Dion, he can definitely be quick. I mean, he has won a race in the past, like in Monza all the way back in Season 2, and he's had a couple podiums as well. Yeah, he's struggling and sometimes making unnecessary mistakes, but he is coming in again. Now, actually, maybe, I'm not really sure, maybe it is something that he had planned, because maybe he just wants to get this hard out of the pit back to a fresh set, because there's a safety car anyway. Maybe this is actually part of his plan, because he is in last anyway, and now he's going to have a fresh set of hards, which is going to be a lap fresher than it would have been. So, yeah, maybe it's all part of the plan for Dion Stahl.
So this is not the first time we've seen this, but Dion Stahl is now on 4 pit stops versus 1, a couple of 2s, and then some people that have not pitted at all.
Yeah. So he does definitely have a very nice helmet design, Dion, there. Nicely with the red Ferrari, with the yellow helmet. And the Italian flag on top. But yeah, Nicola Falzaresi, talking of Italians, he is still leading the way in at Alfa Romeo, the number 42, sorry, the number 12. Followed by the number 94 of Bord Bune and Lewis Marshall in the AlphaTauri. Number 7.
Yes, the good old AlphaTauri, which no longer exists, is now RB Racing, which I wish they would have just gone back to Scuderia Toro Rosso.
I agree. It's kind of confusing, isn't it? Got some Bulls and Red Bulls now. But, okay.
Yes, you have Red Bull Racing and then RB Racing, which is clearly short for Red Bull Racing.
Yeah, I think it's actually short for Racing Bulls, just to...
oh, yeah, just to try and make it a little different. Come on.
Yeah. Copying someone's homework and changing it up so it doesn't, so nobody notices it.
Right. It's the same team.
Yeah.
So control car is going to be Nicolo Falzaresi. Safety car is heading in this lap. So we'll see where Nicolo decides to go versus where Jensen has decided to go in the last couple of safety cars.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it earlier. It's definitely interesting to see the split strategies and to see drivers different kind of strategies. Nicolo Falzaresi is back on the way. Race has restarted here at the start of lap 14.
And it doesn't look like that was a great start for Nicolo Falzaresi. He's getting ready to be passed by Borbune on the inside, and he almost blows the corner.
That was very close indeed. Nicolo Falzaresi just about able to hang on to the lead of the race. As we come up towards turn 4 and the start of the back straight. Borbune in the slipstream of the Alfa Romeo driver. No DRS unable just that. Nicolo Falzaresi still with a 2.
Oh, wow. Oleski with a 5-second time penalty. Whoa, and he goes down to the inside. That's Jensen Randall. Oh, man. Jensen Randall made quick work of that.
He has carving his way back to the field. Of course he has to, because Jensen Randall will have to pit again. Well, of course everybody will, because Nicolo Falzaresi and Borbune is still on an old set of tires to the start of the race on. So Jensen Randall, he's going to have a massive tire advantage now with those fresh mediums.
And Oleski now with that 5-second time penalty hanging over his head. And we know Jesper Lempinen had one earlier. Looks like he served that in the pits, so not necessarily going to be added to his time. Here comes Jensen Randall around the outside of Falzaresi. And he's going to make quick work of that. Jensen Randall back out in front of the race once again. And Oleski currently running in third. He got around Borbune. And Bor had a great start, but it looks like he, I don't know, lost his momentum, got disrupted. When Jensen made that pass on him, it looks like he just started falling back. And then we've got David Rod on the inside of Tim Ventic for the 6th position.
Ruben Hersdag at a bit of a moment as well. There he is being put under pressure by Sandro Dooley's very close. They're coming through the final 2 corners. Very close racing there for P9. For the bit of Vincenzo Torre, also very close to the back of the Alpine of Tim Venting.
Oh, and Jesper, he's got Noel all over the back of him. And it's a cluster back here. Sam Brandt trying to battle on the outside of Juan Rivas, but Juan's still got those fresher mediums. And it looks like Oleski has gotten around Nicolo Falzaresi, so we got an Aston Martin 1-2 up front. Oh, and a big twitch for Oleski coming out of that corner.
Yeah, Dooley's also got through on Jesper Lempinen there for P9. Oh, and the center's been tagged from the back. He spins out. Massive cluster here at the start of, that's turn 5, isn't it, there? The left-hander before the back straight. No one out of the race, but definitely a couple of drivers that have picked up damage there.
Yep, looks like Jesper Lempinen got the worst of that. Spun around. Once again, doesn't look like he's got any wing damage, but Sam Brandt trying to get around Sandro. Sandro looks like he might be having some issues.
Oh, does he maybe have damage at the rear? He looked a bit loose there. Maybe he's got rear wing damage, because he did definitely get a tap from behind. And that's definitely something that is very difficult to manage, because it will make the downforce go away in the rear end. Also a battle going on here for P7 Lewis Marshall, getting overtaken by Vincenzo Torre for P7.
So I was trying to look out the back of Sandro's car. It doesn't look like the wing's wobbling around, but he's battling it out with Sam Brandt and Jesper Lempinen. He's not getting away, and it looks like Lewis Marshall's finally going to head into the pits and give up that track position. That's going to move Dion Stahl up into 9th, along with Robin Herderstegen up into 10th, and then you see that battle behind. And Sandro Dooley, he's definitely struggling. Sam Brandt's going to get to the inside of him. Oh, and he gets tapped. Oh, my goodness, and they both go around. And Sandro and Sam, longtime friends, they were co-owners of the league at one point. And Sandro is absolutely struggling with whatever's going on in the back of his car.
Yeah, it's either damage or maybe overheated tires from that earlier spin. Oh, Sam as well, but a bit of a wiggle there coming out of turn 4. But yeah, it's very unfortunate for Sandro Dooley there. Well, 2 incidents in about hours for the Greek-German driver, and all the way back down into P12.
So now that things have settled just a little bit, Jensen Randall out in front to the tune of 3 seconds. over his teammate Oleski, who's got a 5-second time penalty that he can serve in his next pit stop. Nicolo Falzarezzi currently running in third. Borbune's been up and down a little bit, running in fourth position. He's got David Rod closing in on the back of him, along with Tim Ventic, former series champion. And Vincenzo Torri has battled his way up into seventh. Noel is in eighth. Jensen Randall just ran the quickest lap of this race. Dion Stahl, he's had a weird day as well. 4 pit stops. He's managed to get into ninth. And Robin Herderstagen somehow quietly has worked his way into the points. We're going to go back to this battle for the fourth position. David Rod is now closed up on the back gearbox of Borbune.
And he will have the slipstream and the DRS advantage as they come out of turn 5 here. Up towards the back straight. DRS
and as you said, this is a very weird... Oh, and they make a little bit of contact. Very close. He gets to the inside. Oh, Borbune was going to try the crossover, but it looks like it might have cost him a little bit of time. Here comes Tim Ventic to the inside of him, and they make contact. Right front to left rear.
Borbune getting knocked around there a little bit, losing 2 places. And
Vincenzo Torri is going to get to the inside of him. And Vincenzo is up into 6th spot, and Borbune is struggling. What is going on with his car?
Yeah, I think maybe getting overtaken by David Rod there possibly rattled his cage a bit, and he's now being humbled a little
16
bit.
16-lap-old hards probably doesn't help.
Oh yeah, of course. He's still on this on the set of tires that he started with. I almost forgot about that. But yeah, Borbune is still stretching it out, and he gets...
Oh, and a 3-second time penalty, so insult to injury. Lewis Marshall is getting around Sam Brandt.
Looks like a mistake from Sam Brandt. But yeah, Bori will have to pit soon because those tires will be falling off the cliff as David Rod moves up to P3 as Nicola Falzarezzi is into the pit lane. I think Borbune will follow him, and he does. Both those drivers are now going to a set of medium tires for the final stint.
And caution flag flies sector 3.
Sam Brandt, again, he's lost his wing, so another incident for the Danish driver.
Sam Brandt struggling bad here in his second race after a couple years sabbatical from SRL racing. And yeah, tough break for him. Definitely not up to his old form.
No, it can be difficult if you take a sabbatical like that and you kind of get out of the rhythm of league racing, practicing, keeping on top of your game, and if you come back to that after taking quite a long break, then it can be very difficult to sort of get back on that level again. Because even playing racing games offline, even if you take it seriously, it's not league racing always pushes you to just practice and work out the details, work out the setup, and just really being on top of your game, optimizing every single lap, every corner. And if you don't do that for a while, you can get a little bit rusty.
So it looks like our closest battle on track right now is for the 4th position, Tim Ventic and Vincenzo Torri. Vincenzo running in 5th, 0.7 of a second behind Tim Ventic, and Tim Ventic's actually closed the gap down to David Rod. So you have a 3-car battle that's starting to materialize here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Kind of good to see Tim Ventic, the former series champion, running as well as he is. Again, another driver not up to his old form as well. So Vincenzo Torri still running in the 5th position, DRS slot open. Not able to make a move this time by.
Yeah, so finally the race seems to have settled a little bit as Jens Rendel continues to eke out his lead over his teammate Alexei Koivaniemi. It's an Aston Martin, like we've seen quite often this season. Behind them, the McLaren of David, who's also in his first season, maybe a couple rounds ago, and he's definitely putting up a strong performance here, running in the podium position. So yeah, even Tim Venting, pretty nice comeback for him. It looked like a pretty difficult race at the start of the weekend, and even in qualifying, Season 5 champion definitely showing some good pace here in Singapore, just like in the previous race at Monza where he was on the podium as well.
Vincenzo Torri still trying to stay within that 1 second gap. 7/10 back from Ventic. Vincenzo having a really good run. He's struggled a little bit the past few races in this season a little bit. Used to seeing him run a little higher up in the grid, so it's a really good run for Vincenzo. Gets that gap closed. He's got the DRS advantage, but as you said earlier in this race, the front straightaway is fairly even noticeable, and the back straightaway's got that dog leg, which makes it very difficult. We're going to ride along with Vincenzo Torri here as he's going to have the DRS, see if he can close that gap through this back straightaway with the dog leg on it. And Borbune just ran the fastest lap of this race with a 1:31.695. Vincenzo's going to go for it. Down on the inside, very deep into the brakes. Tim Ventic's going to take it back under the crossover. So Vincenzo, bold move, outbraked himself a little bit and couldn't make it stick, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's very easy to break yourself into turn 7 there. If you've got yellow
flags. Jesper Lempinen is going around and got back out onto the back straightaway without incident. Loses a couple of positions. Down into 10th. That moves Dion Stahl up into 7th. And Nicolo Falzaresi, who pitted for a fresh set of mediums, has not made a whole lot of headway, sitting back in 8th position.
Yeah, and Borbune indeed definitely making fresh tires work, just running the fast lap of the race, trying to close that gap to Nicolo Falzaresi behind at the start of the restart. So yeah, definitely in terms of the tires, I can't see Jensen Reno and Alexei Koven and me making it to the end on the medium tires. So
it looks like Vincenzo is heading into the pits. I don't know if this is scheduled or not.
Well, I think it is because the mediums just can't make it.
Looks like he'll switch over to another fresh set of mediums.
Yeah, and maybe we will see Jensen and Alexei do the same thing. But even those runners on the hards, I don't know if they're going to make it, but maybe guys like David Rott, Tim Benting and Noah Rosso possibly just will make it to the end on those hard tires.
Well, I'm going to take a look at, you got Tim Ventic, Noel, Dion Stahl, Jesper Lempinen. They're all on 10, 9-lap old hards. Those tires probably aren't going to go another 10 laps in these conditions.
I can't imagine they would, as we see Juan Rivas making move there on Sandro Dulis up the inside into turn 1. Sandro is still really struggling. He does have older and harder tires, but it might be a bit of damage as well for the number 69 there in that Ferrari. As Juan Rivas does pick up a time penalty just after he overtook Sandro Dulis.
So a couple of time penalties for some drivers. Looks like Juan Rivas. Now that one will be added at the end of the race along with Borbune's. Aleski's got the 5-second penalty. That he can serve during the pit stop. So things definitely spread out at this point. Looks like the closest battle we've got on track is going to be between the AlphaTauris. And this is for the 10th position. This is Lewis Marshall in 11th, trying to get around his teammate Jesper Lempinen. And it looks like Aleski just hit the pits.
Yeah, so and I think we'll probably see Jensen do the same thing the next lap. Alexei also going to a new set of medium tires.
You can see how much debris and just junk is all over these cars here in Singapore.
So yeah, I think we will see Jensen Reno coming into the pits as well on this lap. Yeah, but David Rott and Tim Benting and also Noah Rosso, they're only 11-lap old hards. I can't imagine they make it to the end, but maybe. I mean, that is right on the limit, I think, of what is possible to stretch to the end. But also, I don't think Nicolo Falzaresi and Borbune's strategy going to mediums and, you know, initially staying out on those hard tires when the safety car got deployed isn't actually that bad. As Juan Rivas has crashed out. Or did he retire in the pit lane?
I think he retired in the pit lane.
So he has decided to quit the race and call it a day after a very difficult round for him. He already had a qualifying ban, and he also had that time penalty.
That is a shame. That is a shame. I mean, you know how disinteresting F1 would be if drivers just decided because they weren't going to score points to just call it a day. It would make real F1 very boring. Falzaresi has just made a move on Dion Stahl for the 5th position, though, so Falzarelli trying to work his way back towards the front.
Yeah, he's on a charge on that fresh set of mediums. But yeah, I mean, personally, I would also prefer to finish the race than to just retire in the pits. But Henri Vos didn't feel the incentive to keep going there. But yeah, Nicola Falzarelli, like I was saying, also Borbune, even Vincenzo Torre now on a fresh set. I can kind of and Nico and Bor's strategy now. Initially staying out, then pitting to the mediums. They've got fresher tires now. They can probably make it to the end. And we've got drivers in front of them on all their hard tires. Of course, they did have the advantage of pitting on the safety car and losing less time, but they're on all the tires now. And well, even Jensen Rinde will certainly have to pit again.
Well, Jensen currently has a 15-second lead as Falzarelli gets around his teammate for the 4th position. So a 16-second gap over David Rod. And you're going to lose roughly 22 seconds here at the pit stop delta if things go well?
Yeah, correct. It's something like that. So initially Jensen is definitely going to lose the lead, but of course we know his pace. I mean, he's definitely going to be challenging to get that lead back from David Rod if he does.
Well, and David Rod is currently on 12-lap old hards as it is, so he would have to pit regardless. So your top 3 runners are all going to have to pit. Falzarelli is trying to make up as much time as possible. He is closing the gap to Tim Ventic for the 3rd position. But at this point, if Jensen pitted now, he would still come out in front of Nicola Falzarelli and essentially secure another championship here at SRL.
Yes, I mean, that's all what he needs to do, isn't it? He just needs to finish into the 5 to secure the championship. But of course, he is a competitive driver, and you know, he's almost obsessed with winning, and he's definitely going to be determined to win the race by winning the championship.
So we'll pick up Borbune. Borbune is about to make a pass on the Noel Alfa Romeos. They head down into turn 1, and Noel's going to give him enough space to make the corner, and easily gets that done. So Borbune up into the 4th position.
And at the same time, also Alexi Kovenemi managed to get past on Dion Staal in almost the exact same manner at the inside of the turn 1. But yeah, Borbune also on those mediums, trying to roads on the 4-day pit.
So Noel trying to keep pace with Borbune for that 6th position, but it looks like he's got Oleski closing in on him, so he might lose another spot.
Yeah, it looks like Noah Rosso is struggling a little bit here, and he's getting under pressure from Alexi Kovenemi.
So Jensen stretching out his lead over David Rod, now almost up to 18 seconds, and he is now choosing to pit. Be interesting to see, does he take another set of mediums? Does he go for softs just to take the fastest lap and put another knuckle in the back of all the drivers? Looks like he's going to throw on some mediums for sure.
Yeah, good question. He's actually coming into the pits now. I think he's going to go to a set of mediums. Oh yeah, he is. I did catch that. So Jensen Rinde kind of playing it conservatively there, not going on to the softs and just going for another set of medium tires. Rejoins the track in P3 behind David Rod and Tim Venting.
And look at that, he comes out in P3 and still 8.5 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. It's still dropping because timing and scoring is not as quick as I am. So about 7 seconds in front of Nicola Falzarelli. And he is about 5 seconds back of Tim Ventic, so.
Yeah, I mean, he does have about 6 seconds to make up to David Rod, but I mean, he's also got about 6 laps remaining, so he'll need to be a second lap quicker, but he is definitely capable of doing so on those fresh tires.
So 14 lap old tires for David Rod and Tim Ventic. They are going to struggle here towards the end of this race. Do they stay out and gamble for track position?
I think so. I think they will try to go to the end here. I think they will try and gamble for the tires to just hold out. They've got about 5.5 laps remaining. You know, they are going to be in a massive disadvantage, but you know, Singapore, it is a relatively difficult track to overtake. No long start-finish straight or back straight, so just park the bus. Oh, bit of a slide for David Rod. They're coming out of turn 16.
Borbune and Oleski kind of going at it. Borbune's got that 3-second time penalty. Oleski up into 5th. And now Vincenzo Torre around the outside of Noel through the dog leg there, and he is up into 7th. So Well, trying to come back, but a good run today from Vincenzo Torri. And Tim Ventic, he picks up a 3-second time penalty to add insult to injury, and he's all over the back. He's actually caught David Rod for the top spot, but here comes Jensen Randall. So that's really, right. There is a battle for second going on between David Rod and Tim Ventic, because Jensen's going to easily be able to get around these two.
Jensen Randall up the inside. No, just not yet as they go into turn 8.
Jensen, bide your time. You don't have to force it.
Tim Ventic, he knows what's going on. He just let him go by there. He knows he's got the penalty, and he knows that he doesn't have a chance to defend against that. So he decided to Jensen go. I don't think David Rod is going to appreciate that, because Tim Ventic just made Jensen Randall's life a bit easier.
Yeah, I mean, you would think David Rod would kind of hope that Tim would hold him back just a little bit longer, maybe maybe another lap or so. But as you said, Tim knows what's going on. Tim, as you said, Season 5 champion. He's been in this position before, and he's certainly not one to try and hold up what is going to be the champion for Season 9. So Tim with the 3-second time penalty, old Warren tires, it's inevitable that you're going to get passed by Jensen.
Yes, and now the inevitable is going to happen again. David Rod trying to hang on to the lead here on those old hard tires as we start with lap 27. Look at how much Jensen closed up through the final corner. He's going on the outside here before.
And he's going to have the DRS advantage. And that is hook, line, and sinker. Jensen Randall back out in front. And unless he makes a very uncharacteristic mistake, we're currently looking at our Season 9 champion.
Yes, it almost had to go like this, isn't it? Jensen Randall almost humiliating the rest of the field by just almost making it look effortless. I mean, just also running this pace consistently lap after lap. He just makes it look so easy, but it is so hard to perform at this level and to drive so consistently and so fast as well.
Well, that's what they say, make the great ones great. They make it look easy even though it's not. And Sam Brandt, just to kind of put another stitch in his day, another 3-second time penalty for him. But Sam has stuck with it. He's up to 14th. He did not pull the Juan Rivas and decide to just call it a day, so sticks it out to the end. I mean, you're only going to get better if you keep driving, so.
Definitely, yeah, good to see him trying to at least finish the race. We've also got a bit of a battle going on here for P12 with Sandro Julius and Robin Herstenhagen in the McLaren. Of course, it is not any points, but maybe a bit of pride here for the 12th position.
Yeah, Sandro has definitely got to have something going on with that car, some sort of floor damage or rear wing damage. It's has not been the same since that battle from about the halfway point of this race. And Robin Herterstagen's got the DRS slot open. Not close enough to make a move here through that dog leg.
Yeah, we know Sandro Julius is faster than this. He even won here in Season 4, which was his first victory in a very long time back then. But of course, he also had a very strong race at Monza.
Oh, and he just made a mistake going over that curb, and that's opened up the door for Robin Herterstagen. Robin, great defensive driving by Sandro. You know he made a mistake. And Herterstagen trying to find a way around, but Sandro's making his Ferrari very wide through this tight section.
Yeah, he was involved in a bit of controversy at the final lap in Monza, where Noah Smith dived up the side of the turn 1 and Sandro Julius had to cut the corner. Got a penalty, but of course that was removed just after the race because he was forced that wide and managed to hang on to his podium.
I know that was a bit of a heartbreak for you. It would have been your first podium in quite some time, but
yeah.
I mean, and again, nothing against Jensen because he is so good, but it was refreshing to see you guys back up towards the front. Sandro obviously started the league. You're a Season 4 champion. Oleski's always been pretty competitive, and it was refreshing to see some of the OGs and, some of the other guys battling up towards the front for a win, for a podium. So I know that had to be a little bit of a heartbreak for you, but...
It kind of was, but yeah, thanks for saying so as well. And it definitely was very refreshing, even for me, and very enjoyable to be up there. Also pretty nerve-wracking and very exciting, of course, to be at the front, but also definitely a lot of fun. But we see Robin Herstenhagen again trying to make another attack here on the back straight, but he's not close enough. But yeah, I think Monza was a case where everything was coming together. Indeed, we didn't have Jensen Randall racing, but also Monza is a track where it's a little bit easier to stay with somebody who's maybe a little bit quicker than you with the slipstream on the massive start start finish straight, and also I think the pace was just very good from like Sandro, Noah Smith, and myself there, and I was pretty lucky as well to just stay out of incidents and had a couple of close calls, but managed to keep my nose clean, and helps of course as well to get as high up in the order as possible. But it was definitely a very, very enjoyable race in Monza.
So it is a bit late in the going, but Vincenzo Torri has closed the gap down to Borbune, down to within half a second here over the last couple of corners. Not sure if Borbune has burnt up those tires, but he's also got that 3-second time penalty. So, I mean, Vincenzo's going to get 6th position here, bearing no mistakes here in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, it looks like Bor is struggling a little bit more on those tires than what the Mercedes behind him is. Vincenzo Torri really putting inertia in this final phase of the race. Bor with a bit of a wide line there through the hairpin. Oh, a bit of a slide for Vincenzo Torri as well, as he tries to close up to the back of the Williams in front of him.
Oh, and to the inside. That is a tight place to make a pass.
Borbune trying to hold firm there. Yeah, just about keeps it in front of the Mercedes. Up the inside this time, and now Vincenzo Torri makes it stick also. It looks like
Borbune is going to come back though. He doesn't really want to give up the position.
Yeah, he's definitely keeping him on this as we start the penultimate lap here. Borbune trying to go to the outside here. And one, can he hold it on the brakes? Oh, Vincenzo tries to hold it, but Borbune slams the door in his face.
What a great move by Borbune to try and get that position back.
Definitely, I mean, his tires might be shot, but he's definitely trying to fight it out there to conserve as many points as possible. This Shendry does have the time penalty for Vincenzo Torri once again with the slipstream. Is gonna go to the inside as right into turn 7. Bor very late on the brakes and manages to still stand firm. Very good defensive driving for Borbune here in the Williams.
So Vincenzo Torri trying to find a way around. He doesn't really even need to battle for the position. He's going to get it at the timing and scoring.
Made a block pass of Sandro Dulis as well. Sorry to interrupt, but Robin as well through on the Ferrari of Sandro.
So Sandro's struggles continue, and it's interesting to see Sandro trying to take it back.
Torri ran deep, but he manages to keep it back round. But this will put Robin Harris on the inside into the final corner, but isn't quite close enough to put it alongside there. As we start with the final lap, side by side for the Ferrari and the McLaren. Sandro Dulis just about holding the advantage into turn 1.
Meanwhile, back up at the 6th position, Borbune still holding off Vincenzo Torri. Vincenzo's got the DRS advantage heading through some of these DRS zones, but hasn't been able to get around him and stick with it. Borbune doing a great job doing some defensive driving. Vincenzo, as they come through this double apex left-hander, is going to have the DRS advantage down the front straightaway. A little bit of a wiggle there by Borbune. DRS slot open. He's not going to be close enough this time by. And Borbune again holding off Vincenzo Torri.
Yeah, we've got a fight for P6 and a fight for P12. Borbune, Vincenzo Torri, and Sandro Dulis and Robin Harris and also only 3/10 separating them as we go over the back straight once more. Borbune trying to defend from Vincenzo Torri on the last lap here in the battle for P6. Vincenzo
and a late dive by Vincenzo. They make contact. Oh, Borbune. Oh, and Vincenzo's going to give it back. Okay.
Very sportsmanlike there for the Italian.
But Vincenzo knew he went in a little hot. And again, I appreciate the fact that they are battling it out. Vincenzo doesn't even need to fight for this position, but it's nice to see this battle on track. Oh, and a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. That'll probably get taken away.
Coming around the final corner. He's actually going to wait before the start-finish line. Is he going to do a donut? No, not yet. He's just going to weave about. We can see the fireworks going off. Jensen Randall, the Singapore Grand Prix, and clinches the 2023-24 SRL Season 9 World Championship, the first triple world champion in SRL. David Roth will cross the line in second. Tim Mentic will cross the line in P3, but with a 3-second time penalty will lose out to the podium to Nicolo Falzaresi. But what a drive from Jensen Randall. The day belongs to him. And he
Tim
has shown
Ventic
why
he
is the Season 9 champion.
Tim Ventic will be coming across 4th. Oleski is 5th. Vincenzo Torri does get the 6th position, even though he didn't make the pass on track. Borbune, a 5-second time penalty, that's inconsequential to his finishing position and would probably get taken away anyways at the end of the race. Noel battling it out with Dion Stahl. Dion manages to get some points on the board for Ferrari. 8th and 9th there. And Lewis Marshall will be 10th. Jesper Lempinen will be 11th. And a rough outing for Sandro Dulius, Robin Hershhagen, and Sam Brandt. Rough day for him, but stuck with it. He's going to walk away with the finish, even though it's 14th position. That's more than we can say for Juan Rivas, Ivan Brito, George Wilkes, and unfortunately Noah Smith did not really get to even start this race.
Yes, a big congratulations to Jens Rendel. He's done it again for the 3rd time. A triple champion in SRL. Season 6, Season 7. He just missed out in Season 8 to Logan Ron, but he has managed to take back the title from the American. And he is the reigning champion once more. What a drive from him, what a season. And he has well and truly raised the bar in SRL. The level of Jensen Rendel that he has displayed over the last couple of seasons is very, very impressive indeed.
So as you said, a 3-time SRL champion now. It should be noted that, yeah, he did miss out just barely in Season 8 to Logan Arond, and that's part of the reason why Jensen has been able to clinch the championship so early this time, is because Logan has taken a sabbatical from SRL racing, not necessarily online racing. So we don't know if we'll see Logan again in the future. But Jensen Randall, your winner and Season 9 champion, followed by David Rod. Nicolo Falzarezzi going to be finishing 2nd in the points, 3rd for the race. Tim Ventic is going to be finishing 4th. Oleski is 5th. Vincenzo Torri 6th. Bor Bune was 7th. Noel in the Alfa Romeo 8th. Dion Stahl 9th. Lewis Marshall 10th, rounding out your top 10 points paying positions. Jesper Lempinen, Sandro Dulius, and Robin Herterstegen, along with Sam Brandt, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. And then your DNFs, Juan Rivas, Ivan Brito, George Wilkes, and Noah Smith. So it's been another fun-filled day of action here at SRL. So be sure to check us again next week. Where are we racing next week?
I will have to check that for you. I don't know that out of the top of my head. I should have had that ready, but
I mean, you're like me.
I checked it on the calendar.
Let's see.
I always look one week ahead. Well, I quickly get the calendar up here to see where the next round is going to be.
What am I looking at? Singapore. So April 13th will be Las Vegas.
That's an interesting one.
That will be interesting. That'll be round 19. So be sure to check us out. Like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us along on Instagram. Look us up online. And be sure to check us out on Instagram so you can keep up with all the news and notes throughout the course of the week. I'm Kamikaze Fox. This has been Nick Van Gelder. This has been SRL F1 2023 on the PlayStation platform. And we will see everybody at the next round.